I think it's all about systems and finding systems that work for you. Then I think you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. The way I have my schedule like set up, I have like an extra day to like upload and edit videos. Like I have 2 days instead of 1 day, and I love that because there are just some days where I just shoot everything and like I don't feel like finishing the edit for one reason or another, and that's what happened today. Like literally, I didn't want to finish my edit yesterday, so now this morning I am gonna finish it and I'm gonna upload it so that it's out of the way and it's ready for tomorrow. For the longest time, I used to like just do like I would shoot all day and then upload the next day. And when I switched over to this new schedule where I shoot all day and then I have another day in between before it uploads or it's released, the amount of stress just melted away. Like it's probably half. Like if I had to like put like a number on it, it's probably 50% less stress because I have like 48 hours to make a video instead of 24. And I think that's the secret to like really being successful with like video creation. It doesn't even have to be with YouTube. It could be with anything. I think it's all about systems and finding systems that work for you. If you have systems that you're trying to use this work for somebody else but don't work for you, and you don't like change them to make them fit your like whatever you need, then I think you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. Also, yesterday I saw that the Sony a7S III got a new update, which, speaking of systems, I use that system like religiously, like literally every single day I use the Sony a7S III, and I really want to update it, but I have to make sure I have custom buttons mapped on my Sony, and I don't want to lose those. And the problem with updating is it'll wipe your camera completely. But there's a way to save your custom buttons to like an SD card, and I think I did it, but I just want to make sure before I update, because that'll completely screw up how I use the camera, and that'll completely screw up my systems, and it'll take me from like being able to make a video today or whatever day I do it, and well, it can really just throw a wrench. It could really throw a wrench into everything. So I have to make sure I do that before I update my camera. I saw this post a couple days ago. I don't remember where I saw it. It was somewhere on Instagram or TikTok or something. But it was an older guy, like a guy in his 60s or 70s, giving advice to younger people. And the biggest piece of advice that he gave was have a morning routine. Like whatever you do, have that be your morning routine and protect that, because what you do in your like your 20s and has a direct impact on like when you're 60. And a morning routine was one of those things that has a huge impact if you have one or not. And for me, typically my morning routine looks like I'll wake up at anywhere between like 6 or like 7 in the morning, and then I'll either, if I have to edit something, I'll finish the edit like I did today, and then I'll go on a run or exercise or do something in the morning before my day actually gets started. And there's really 2 reasons for that. The first one is mostly I'm more likely to actually do it as soon as I get up and I don't overthink it. And then 2, there's just something so nice about like having like some time to yourself to like really like engage your brain and get you like prepared to mentally tackle whatever you have to do that day. And also a lot of times for me, this is unique to me, but a lot of times for me, I'll get a lot of ideas for videos that I want to shoot that day, or like scenes or like shot ideas. All that stuff comes from, or a lot of that stuff comes from my like morning exercise and like running. Like I've found that the days that I don't run, it's way harder to make a video than the days that I do run. And on top of that too, it gives me like extra things to like include in my videos, to give more context and to like build out a story or a narrative for my day. So all that being said, if you're ever wondering if you should get a routine, or I mean, I highly recommend it. Basically what we said earlier in the video, having a routine and having a system, same thing, is really important. And honestly, it's probably the most important thing that you could do to like help you be successful, I think. All that being, and I think it's especially important when you have like a job that's like a creative job, like if you're like making videos for people or taking photos of people, making websites for people, anything that involves creativity. I think having some kind of structure within your day is really, really important, especially if you're self-employed, because our days, me and Savannah's days, we don't really have an office that we go to. We don't have a boss that we have to necessarily answer to, and the flexibility in our schedule is something that I love, and like I think Savannah does too, and we really cherish it. But without any kind of structure or routine, then it would be really chaotic and honestly really, really stressful. That's why when we actually go on vacations and stuff like that, we actually have specific tasks that we want to like accomplish throughout the week. It's not anything nearly as like involved as like a normal work week. Like it's probably like maybe like a tenth of the work that we want to get done, but we need like at least something to help occupy our brains. And for us, it just works. Like the first couple of vacations, we tried not having anything, and around day 2, we were getting pretty snippy and pretty frustrated. So it just works for us to have at least something to like focus on or work on periodically when we're bored, or there's like a low point in the vacation or something like that. The second half of this video, I want to try something new. Well, it's not really new. It's just I haven't ever done it before. I want to try making. Savannah and I have to go to the store because we ran out of coffee, and we're probably just gonna walk to the store. And I thought it would be a fun idea to try to make that whole sequence completely on my iPhone, like the narration, the B-roll, all shot on nothing but this iPhone. It could be fun or it could be terrible. I don't know. We actually didn't end up going to the grocery store, mostly just because it's like a 2.5 mile walk, and well, we just didn't want to commit all the time to doing that. So we ended up just going to a coffee shop that's like right down the street from us, because the big thing that we needed was coffee. We didn't need any of the other stuff. It was just coffee was the main mission. I've always been pretty picky with coffee. I started making pour-overs when I was in high school. And coming from a family that my parents never drank coffee, like I was the one that was definitely the first person to get into drinking coffee on a regular basis. And I've been making coffee the same way for the better part of a decade. With all that, I'm pretty picky to a degree with the coffee that I drink. Now I'll drink like Folgers, and I'll drink like drip coffee if I have to, or if I want that specific taste. But 9 times out of 10, if I had my option, I would want it in a Chemex, like, or a pour over, which is pretty much that's what I do at home. But I do have one rule when I go to coffee shops, and that is I'm not gonna get what I can make at home, because to me that just seems kind of redundant. So I always get some kind of drink that's made with an espresso machine, like an expensive espresso machine, whether that be a latte or a cappuccino or just an Americano, whatever. I want to get a coffee that I can't make from home, simply because the machines that they use at coffee shops are like thousands and thousands of dollars. All that to be said, we got coffee, and now we're just sitting outside of this little office park thing, looking at the river. Also, how does the audio sound? All the audio is with my iPhone. I know the footage is gonna look good, but I don't know if the audio is gonna. That's the one thing I'm concerned about. So during that whole walk, I actually ended up dropping my phone, or my phone ended up falling, and well, look at the case. Do you see that right there? There, here, like a bunch of gashes and stuff. The screen's fine and the lenses are fine. It's just this case took a beating. The biggest one was this gash right there. I like this. I like this case from Apple. It's leather. It's kind of overpriced, but I do like it because it's like MagSafe and all that stuff. My only complaint is it just gets dented and dinged up really, really easily. But I mean, it's it's a great case. I used to have their silicone one, and I liked it, but it would always get stuck in my pockets. So I wanted something that would slide in my pockets a lot easier. And this is well, it's good, overpriced, but it's good. I think the audio from the only thing that was lacking from that last sequence with the coffee is it wasn't the picture. I think this thing provides a really incredible picture, especially the zoom lens. I love the zoom lens on these cameras. But like always, it's the audio. The audio is a thing that is always lacking. And I mean, I realized that I could probably have used this to record and sync it up afterwards, or I could have used something like these Rhodes. And for this, it's definitely, it would be an upgrade. Like, I think the trick with audio is if you're using these, if it upgrades the sound from your current, like what's currently available on the camera, then my general rule is to go ahead and use these. But for something like with this like big fancy camera where I'm shooting, where the audio is just amazing from the external microphone, this I feel like the audio goes from here down to here. But from this, the audio, and then from this, using this, or using these with this, the audio goes from down here to like here. Does that make sense? I want to try these maybe, because like I like this, and the audio sounded okay. I'm just kind of picky. Like this sounded like an iPhone's audio, if that makes sense. I also was thinking about maybe trying like the voice memo app and just having it like a regular microphone. That might work, but I also wanted to be able to jump to like a lot of these like talking heads. I like to create anticipation, and for me it's really satisfying when the end of whatever I'm saying, my like face pops up and where I'm actually recording the audio pops up. I think that's really satisfying, and I wouldn't get that if I used the voice memo app, which is why I didn't use it for that last thing. But other than that, I think it works great. And I don't know how much I'm going to use it as a dedicated, like not take this camera but take this camera moving forward, but it was a fun little experiment. This is not what I use. This is not part of my like daily like system. I normally shoot all my talking heads with this big fancy setup, so I get really nice audio, but just changing it up, you know? I'm not a very patient person, and that really is highlighted when I try to cook. For the longest time, I would always burn everything because I was too impatient to. In my head, I thought if I cooked on high, the food would be done faster. So I cooked everything on high, and well, because of that, there was one time, I remember this vividly. There was one time I was still living at home with my parents. They were gone, and I wanted to make myself spaghetti. I actually forgot about the pot with the water and the spaghetti in it, to the point where all the water evaporated, and the spaghetti actually caught on fire, like almost setting my parents' house on fire. So all that to be said, I don't really cook, and when I do cook, it's a very limited. Like I know how to make very limited things. And one of those things is eggs with a bagel, because it's like, yeah, you can't screw that. At any event, I eat a lot of that, and tonight is no exception. I have started cooking on medium though instead of high, because Savannah has shown me that just because you cook on high doesn't mean it's not gonna be faster. I just hate cooking, honestly. Also, for that whole sequence, the tripod, you were actually. I think the biggest thing that I struggle with, and I think anybody that makes any kind of content centered around their lives struggles with as well, I think the biggest thing is whenever I shoot something, whenever I think about making something, there's always this like voice in the back of my head, like who actually is going to care about this, and are people just going to skip through this sequence? One of the reasons that I wanted to experiment and start making like longer videos, I think I'm going to make tomorrow's video solely dedicated to this whole idea, but as I'm like formulating it, I wanted to kind of talk to you about it, and this, in a weird way, this helps me flush out what I'm going to actually say. But I've wanted to really experiment on what it would look like to have like longer form content, like somewhere like 15 to 17 minutes maybe, but be in like a daily format. But with that, have a large portion of it be like I'm sitting down talking to you, and it's like unedited, uncut. The pauses that I have, like they're kept in there. If I mess up and I have to restart, that's kept in there, because I feel like that's gonna make that, if you were like sitting next to me right here on this balcony, if I like, there's no like cutting, there's no like jump cuts to random things, like whatever I say or whatever, if I mess up something and I need to repronounce it or re-say it, then or if a car drives by that's kind of loud and I have to raise my voice, that's what you're gonna get live. And that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to like make it feel like that as much as I can. Now if I like am just sitting here like not saying anything for like 20 minutes, or obviously I'm not going to include that because that's going to be extremely boring, but I want to incorporate more longer stuff, less cuts, more raw, and I would love to hear your opinion on, like I said, I'm going to dedicate a whole video tomorrow talking about that and like setting it up and like framing it in a way that I think is going to be a little more formal than this. And by that I mean I'm going to dedicate a video, not just the end of like a video, but a whole video, or have that be the narrative. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And if you've like thought about doing that, or maybe you haven't, and maybe this video like makes you start thinking about it, or share your thoughts, because I would be interested, because this is a very fluid thing. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Yeah. Also, the sandwich, it's not the worst, not my best, but there are other people that could make this way better, but I'm learning. We found this sauce at Publix. It's like a hot sauce that they put on their sandwiches. It's really good. It's really tiny bottle. It's really expensive, like $5 for it, but it's really good. At any event, let me know what you think, because I just really want to know. Okay. I thought it would be perfectly fitting to end a video talking about routine and systems, to say that with this whole like new way of making videos where my routine and my system is completely changed. Like normally I try to get done with editing at like 5, and it's currently 6:07, and I'm about to import more footage into these videos. It's whatever, it's fine. I just think it's funny that I'm talking about routine and systems, and this is like nothing but what my routine normally isn't. Okay.